Welcome to the new Cisco ISE 3.X training with labs. In this training, we will deal with the new Cisco ISE version 3.X, whether it is 3.0, 3.1, 2, 3 or 3.4. So they all look the same and they are all valid with this training. You will deal with the new graphical user interface, and Cisco has changed the graphical user interface of Cisco ISE dramatically. So you will see all new graphical user interface first time in this training. You will deal with the new ISE dashboard and you will understand where each menu is, and if you will have different ways to reach that menu, you will also see them. And you will deal with these menu items in the new order, and how you can reach them will all be discussed, and how you can configure each configuration item, and how you can deal with the policy sets, the authorization profiles, authentication rules. You will all deal with them in separate videos. And the great news is this training is all hands-on lab training. So you will be dealing with completely on labs. You will not deal with the slides. You will learn all the configuration steps one by one on live actual lab, and you will understand how it can be configured on a real Cisco ISE software. So join me on this training to learn Cisco ISE 3.X with completely all hands-on labs. On the chapter to configure Cisco ISE 3.X for MAB, we will learn about how we can configure network device groups on Cisco ISE, and then we will learn how we can add a new network device on these groups, and how we can add this device on Cisco ISE so we can use it for MAC address bypass authentication. Next, we will test this network access device on Cisco ISE and understand whether we did the configuration right, and we will also learn how we can test the outcome of our configurations. After testing, we will go and create wired and wireless policy sets for MAB on Cisco ISE. We will also create some of the 802.1x wired and wireless policy sets just to make them ready for 802.1x if you need it. And you will understand the order between those wired and wireless policy sets for MAB, so you will be able to understand how you can just configure them on your real live deployment. Next, we will deal with the authentication policy creation on Cisco ISE. After learning about the authentication policy creation, you will go and understand how you can create wired authentication policies on Cisco ISE. And after completing these steps, you will go and create a wireless authentication policy. You will see the difference between the wired and wireless authentication policies, and how you can differentiate the actual policy sets. And also, you will configure some policy elements, some policy results, such as DACLs on Cisco ISE. After configuring the dynamic access lists, you will go and test the radius communication, and you will learn how to read live logs on Cisco ISE. This is also another important step, because when you deal with real live logs, you have to understand what went wrong or what went actually right. So this is also important. Then you will deal with the endpoint identity groups on Cisco ISE, and you will understand how you can just change the identity group of an endpoint. And next, you will deal with the authorization rule configuration for Cisco ISE 3.X for MAB. After completing the authentication and authorization, you will go ahead and deal with the Cisco IP phone authorization rule configuration for MAB on Cisco ISE, and these all help you to understand actual MAB configuration and actual MAB policy sets, authentication, authorization rules, dealing with the endpoint groups, dealing with device groups, and how to add these devices. So this will be including a lot of items, and you will have a lot to learn in this chapter. On this chapter, we will learn how to configure Cisco ISE 3.X for 802.1x authentication. This is a very important chapter, and in this chapter you will learn a lot about the policy elements and a lot about the rules for 802.1x. First of all, we will learn how to create and use an identity source sequence on Cisco ISE. This will be important for the following labs. And next, we will understand how we can create a downloadable ACL on Cisco ISE. And again, this will be important when you are dealing with policy results. And next, we will start creating the policy profiles in the policy sets. So first of all, we will start with authorization profiles on our Cisco ISE for 802.1x. Next, we will configure authorization rules for wired access on Cisco ISE. This will be important for wired 802.1x. And next, we will go ahead and deal with how we can configure authorization rules, but this time for wireless access on Cisco ISE. And after dealing with the necessary authorization rules, we will understand how we can configure some global exception authorization policy on Cisco ISE, and we will see the effect of it, how it is affecting all the policy sets, and how you can delete one and how you can add a global exception. Next, we will go ahead and prepare our wired client for 802.1x, and then we will test this wired access policies on Cisco ISE using this configured wired client. And as we already done the wireless authentication and authorization profiles and rules on our Cisco ISE, we will go ahead and first prepare a wireless client for 802.1x, and then we will test the wireless access policies that we already configured on our Cisco ISE and understand how it is affecting the client and how the actual 802.1x is happening when we are dealing with and understanding the live logs. So this chapter will be all about how we can configure the Cisco ISE for proper 802.1x rules and policy sets, and we will deal with all aspects including global exception rules, and we will also deal and understand how we can configure the clients in the correct way so that they will be ready for 802.1x authentication.